I'm Aleksa. I used to work at DeepMind as a research engineer. I'm now building non-English large language models and building a company around that. And I don't like to drink on my coffee. I'm basically a tea person because I get too hyperactive and anxious if I drink a lot of coffee. So that's that.
And what is fascinating is just how nobody really knows what the hell is going on with evaluations right now. I think that's the biggest takeaway. The TLDR is that we're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah, and like the last paper I saw did not help. I think it came from Together AI actually, where they showed if you take the benchmark, if you take the data from the test set, so something that you want to evaluate the model on, you just reformulate that data using, I think they use maybe even GPT-4. So like you just tell the model, here, rephrase this. And then such reformulated text, you cannot now match it to the original data. Like if you use something like fuzzy deduplication or something, that text looks like it's original. And then if you train on that data, the model gets 100% on the original test. And so even though so that means basically you cannot even catch, there's no way you can catch whether you've seen something in the training data because it can be just slightly reformulated and all of our hard-coded heuristics cannot catch that. And then you can kind of claim later high scores on an eval, even though that's not actually the case. And so ultimately, what I see happening here is the only way we can evaluate these models properly is having crowdsourced ways of arenas where you're having multiple models competing and you're grading the outputs. And just having same with humans, you have to kind of build up the trust with a human being. It's going to be the same with models. Like we have to build like a societal trust into the model by the very nature of the model being out there and interacting with humans. That's how I think about evals right now, honestly.
Yeah, I've seen some companies also putting out new evaluation test sets that basically they curate and they have these high quality evaluation test sets in something like the financial domain or the tax domain. And so since they curate it, they can kind of assure that these models have not seen this type of evaluation test sets before because it's been behind closed doors, and then you bring your model in and you can test against it. I don't know if that's the answer either, because it feels like, okay, that is good for the first time, but then what happens once the model's seen it, and then maybe you just have it gets out, and then once it's out, you got to continue to make new test sets, right?
And I think that's going to be the kind of the situation. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I recently read the Bloomberg GPT paper. And so Bloomberg basically has obviously a ton of financial data and they trained on that data. And so like the thing with their data is it's chronological in nature, right? When you have such data set, then it's easy to take like future samples and just like use that to evaluate the models. So that's, I think, much more robust because we know we cannot really predict the models using like LLMs or whatever because there is a ton of it's an open system.